Hello, Killy P here, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be doing part 2 to what if Deku had the Joker's personality. And before I start, I'd like to thank the person that commented down below Izuku's little brother's name will be. It will be Ryan. Thank you very much, I will be using it now. Okay, let's get straight into it. So now after Izuku has pretty much kidnapped Toga and her friend, and pretty much what happens is he starts putting them through, he straps them down, first off, he straps them down to a testing bed that can pretty much go up at any angle. Like, yeah, he can go up at any angle, so it can go up standing, like, straight up, or it could be lying down straight on their back as well. So pretty much he straps them in, they wake up at this point when they get strapped in, and pretty much they see Izuku and start yelling out for help and stuff, and Izuku's just smiling and looking at them sadistically and saying, "We're gonna have a lot of fun, you guys and me." He says that with a massive smile going over his face. And at this point, Toga's getting very scared, and her friend. So they're trying to escape, but these are like metal latches. They're not escaping at all. So pretty much at this point, Izuku injects some, he would inject, I'm not sure if I should do that one or not. No, he doesn't inject anything. He'll start torturing them pretty much. And he'll continue to torture them both for, I'm gonna say, around 2 months. These two are his favorite play toys, in other words. Yep, he likes to play with human beings. Yep, that's pretty much the Joker in my opinion. So pretty much he starts playing around and just doing whatever he can. And at this 2-point mark, they start to enjoy. Yep, they start to enjoy the torture, and he starts injecting different drugs into them and seeing the different side effects, and pretty much they're his test subjects at this point. And they slowly get to liking everything that he does and starting to like him pretty much, so they're turning full on crazy. So he continues doing it for an extra month, so he's been doing this for 3 months now, and he would be, I'm gonna say it past his birthday, so he's 8 years old now. So now he's 8 years old, and he's doing all these tests, and they work out, tick, successfully. And then they pretty much become Izuku's assistants. Yep. They were somehow able to survive all of Izuku's torture and eventually end up so broken that Izuku understood, and they became his pawns. And now, Toga's friend has forgotten her name, which is very ironic because I never gave her a name. Toga's friend has forgotten her name because of the amount of trauma that she's been put through, and she's just like Toga, she's enjoyed it everything, and her name that Deku will give her will be Harley Quinn, which is, I needed to make it eventually, I had to say it. Yeah, so yeah, Toga's friend will be Harley Quinn, and Toga will be Toga. I'm going to say they're both friends because they both had a blood quirk. You know how Toga can take blood and transform into it? I'm going to say her friend can use her blood as to form any weapon that she wants. So that's her ability. Her favorite weapon is a blood hammer. Yep. And at this point, Izuku's will be still doing his crack job experiments on other human beings. They're just watching in enjoyment of seeing all these other people and suffering. So they enjoy seeing all these other people suffer, and they still like it happening to themselves as well. So they'll do it to themselves sometimes as well. So now I'm gonna say this is gonna be a 1 year time skip. Yeah, so now it's gonna be for them Yeah, he'll be 9, and I'm gonna say this is 9 in the middle of the year. So now Izuku starts to feel like he wants to get revenge on his parents because of what they put him through. So pretty much he starts scoping out what he remembers his parents' house looking like and all that stuff. And throughout this whole time, he has been exercising, and he's probably stronger than like a 14-year-old at the age of 9. So he's really, really strong. So now Izuku's going to be walking home. By the way, this is with Toga and Harley Quinn by his side. And they're going to be wearing semi-regular clothes. For the time being, obviously. So they're going to be wearing regular clothes, and they're going to look pretty normal at this point. So now he sneaks in, and he finds his old house, and he sees his parents obviously dotting on Ryan because of his really, really good quirk. So seeing this, Izuku gets bloody pissed off, and he just starts to smile, and smile is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. At this point, Ryan, okay, so he's gonna stay outside the house until the Ryan goes to school the next morning. So I'm gonna say he scoped out at night, and he pretty much stayed there until Ryan went to school in the morning, because this is a weekday for him. So Ryan is now at school, and what's the name? What's the name again? Inko. Oh yeah, sorry. And Hasashi has went to work. Inko is going to be a home mom, and she's just staying at home. And at this point, Inko's just at home, making her own business. And what happens is, Izuku quickly and stealthily gets out one of his needles and throws it, knocking her out. So now Inko's knocked out, and he orders Harley Quinn and Toga to pick her up and take her over to the lab. And at this point, they're not really going for silent, to say the least. So after coming home, Asashi sees that Inko's not home and calls the cops. And the cops start doing a investigation about a missing person. And they realize that this isn't the first missing person that happens. Obviously, Toga and Harley Quinn also went missing, and they couldn't find who did that. So at this point, they go, do you have any people that has any ill will towards your family or your wife? And Hasashi says, not that I can think of. And then what happens is they goes back in the security footage and see this kid with 2 girls knock out Inko and take her somewhere. So pretty much they follow him down, and they were able to track Izuku, not to his house but to the slums. They know that Izuku's in the slum area. And obviously at the same time, Izuku will be doing torturous things to his parents. Yeah, I'm just gonna say this. And by the way, this what if is not for a young audience, so this is more for an older audience. Just gonna keep that in mind. So he's gonna be torturing his mother and not dissecting her yet, but ripping off a couple layers of skin, letting it grow back, and continuing that cycle, and slowly torturing, ripping off toenails, and just making her life a living hell for a week. And pretty much what happens is the policeman, because Izuku will go out in the same costume that he went into, and the police officer ran into Izuku, and he said, "Hey kid, for some reason you look familiar." And he said, "I've never seen you before, sir." And he says, weird. And because this cop trusts his gut a lot, so he tails Izuku. And Izuku doesn't mind it, and pretty much he just purposefully lets the cop tail him. And they slowly tail him, and he tails him back to his house, where Harley Quinn and Toga's there waiting, and they tell Izuku someone's following you. Izuku says, I know, let's play with him a little bit. And they both start smiling, not as big as Izuku's smile, but they do smile. And they just leave the door open, and all three of them go inside. And Izuku will be holding, like, shopping and stuff, because he told Harley Quinn and Toga to wait inside because they're missing people and they don't want anyone to see it. So the police officer looks and sees Izuku's back and two females walking into the house. He says, "Are those the people that took the missing person?" And he goes in. He wouldn't call for reinforcements yet because he's not sure. He goes in and sees all these cage-like rooms. And as soon as he steps into the house, bang, the doors close dramatically behind him. And when the doors shut, he jumps and just like in style and just he starts getting goosebumps and continues walking. And he sees them walk down this passage into a basement typed area. Obviously the house looked quite normal above and from outside and inside, but he saw them walk through floorboards, not like legitimately, but they opened a hatch that was underneath the table and they walked down it. And the police officer seeing this follows them. And for some reason this police officer's curiosity is starting to get the better of him because he still hasn't called in reinforcements yet. So he's walking through and seeing like all these jail cells looking places. So it's like sort of like a jail, but at this point, yeah, it just looks like a jail. And now he walks into the main one and he looks in through all the bars and sees a table with some blood on it. He sees some red splatters and like scalpels and other utensils, and he starts to like puke. And behind him, Toga and Harley Quinn put both of their hands on each one of his shoulders and says, "Hello, sir, what are you doing here?" And he just looks both ways and sees these two girls smiling at him maniacally. And he says, nothing. I'm just going now. See ya." And he tries to get away as soon as possible. But they both have a strong grip on him and saying, "Sir, don't go. We're going to have so much fun." And pretty much he reaches for his walkie-talkie to try to get a signal. He says, "Hello, is anyone there?" And they said, "Yep, this is headquarters. Do you speak?" And then he says, "Help me at this place." And pretty much it cuts out there. Like, it says, "Help me, I'm in." Yeah, it's gonna cut out at "I'm in." And they hear this saying, "Help me." And Toga and Harley Quinn have both cut out his walkie-talkie and his mobile phone and made sure that he can't be tracked. Even to the last location, because there is a small EMP area, because Izuku's not dumb. He knows, like, he put a couple EMPs where he made sure phone cables don't really work in the slums. He has a couple in the slums and a couple around his house. So he went the way where all the EMPs were. So all that they know that the police officer went missing in the slums. So now Izuku's starting to torture the police officer next to his parent. And he starts torturing them maniacally and evilly. And at this point, Izuku got bored of Inko. Yep. And the police officer has a lot of grit, I'm gonna say, so he's a lot more fun for Izuku to play with, to try to break. But Inko broke pretty much instantly, so Izuku pretty much said, "Oh, you're no fun, Mum." And pretty much, at this point, Izuku already broke his mum, and she's just pretty much taken it and just crying from one eye with a frown and not even responding to anything he does. And pretty much Izuku says, "Okay, time to end this, and pretty much cuts off the head. Inko is officially dead. So, yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm doing it. So, Inko is dead, and pretty much what he does, he, with gloves and making sure none of his DNA gets put onto Inko, so pretty much he washes, he gets her head, washes down her head so none of his DNA can get traced back to him. So pretty much he washes down his hands, put on gloves, and he writes on the forehead, "Hi, Dad," and he puts it in a present, wrapped up so blood couldn't spill out of the neck, and wrapped up and put in a present and shipped off. He sent it to the Midoriya's household, to his father and his little brother. He sent his mother's head to them. And now, pretty much what happens is, it's back to a regular day. They're both very frightened and hoping that the police can find whoever did this. And now, hearing about all these missing people, the League of Villains will start to be a little bit more curious about what's happening. So they'll send some people in to investigate to see who's taken all these people, because they know it's not them, so it must be someone else. And they don't know who this person is. So now that the League of Villains are trying to figure out who's doing this missing person act, and also why. Because the League of Villains are a little bit curious about why and how they were able to pull this off. So now I'm going to say Izuku does have a quirk, but it's a weak one compared to everything else. Compared to, like, strength quirks, but it's perfect for Izuku. He's charismatic. People want to listen to him, even though they know it's not 100% the right thing. He can't tell them to kill themselves, but he can get away with a lot, but because he's so charismatic, and that will be his quirk, charisma. So now that Izuku has a quirk, but no one knows it, not even Izuku. Izuku doesn't know it. He knows he's very charismatic, but he doesn't know that's his quirk. Obviously, if he went reassigned, they would say, "Oh yeah, you have the toe thing, and you have a quirk now," and they would do tests, and obviously they would figure it out, what his quirk is. And, yep. So, at this point, in the in the Midoriya residence, they get a package for them, and it says, "To Asashi," and they say, "Oh, it's for me," and Asashi opens it and sees his wife's head rapidly neaten up in this package. He screams, and he sees that there's writing on the forehead. He says, and it says, "Hi, Dad." And at this point, Asashi has put it all together, what has happened. He says, "Oh no, I can't believe this actually happened." So he's, like, completely struck by this, and he went straight to the police, and pretty much now Inko is officially dead. And what Izuku does with all the dead bodies is he dissects them and sells all of the organs to get money. So Izuku is very, very rich because of the pure amount of people that he's sold organs of, and hearts, eyes, livers, and all that stuff. Anything anyone needs. He has an abundance of people. He lives in the slums. He can easily get anyone to do anything at this point. And people sort of already know that Izuku is the king of the slums. They pretty much say, if you see a kid wearing a formal attire, don't mess with him and do what he says. And people just say, okay. Mainly because he's charismatic. No one wants to really go against him, because all that they know is Izuku's very nice, because Izuku does give money to the poorer people, but that's for later. That's for later. That's why he's doing it. Later videos I'll say why. But yeah, so he funds, and all that people know is this boy is just being very kind and loving to everyone. They do not know how he's getting the money, but they know what he's spending, like 1% of his money on the people in the slums to get them a little bit better. So they live with some food and some water, so they're not completely bad. Well, not bad. They're not completely starving all the time. So now that that's happened, what he does with the police officer is he goes over, and the police officer's still fighting to keep alive. And what he does is he makes the police officer watch him. He makes Toga and Harley Quinn keep his eyes open while he dissects Izuku's mother and kills her in the same process. So pretty much he forces him to watch it, and that is what breaks him. And he's just completely broken at this point, and he just pretty much does the same thing that Izuku's mother was. He doesn't have the reaction that Harley Quinn or Toga has to it, because the torture methods actually strengthened their quirks. It actually made them stronger, even though it made them crazier. So now Toga's stronger than she is in the anime, and Harley Quinn, the new character, is now stronger than she would have been if she was an actual character. So yeah. So now I've got that out of the way. So what he does, he cuts off the police officer's head. He does the same thing, but he sews it onto Inko's body. Yeah, he's pretty messed up. And he keeps the police officer's body in a separate room where he keeps majority of his bodies, if he ever needs any of them. And if you want him to have a different quirk or a stronger quirk, just let me know in the comment section and I'll change it if it's better than the charisma quirk that I gave him. So now that he sends that off to the police station, so now the police station opens it and sees that it's a full-size body of the police officer that went missing, and they do a DNA test of the body, of the woman's body, and it's actually the missing woman, Inko. And they pretty much go, oh shit, we have a murderer on our hands, a serial killer. And pretty much they put out an emergency warning everywhere saying there has been official murders located in the slums. Because all that they know is that both these people were taken to the slums. They assume that the same person murdered both of them, and at this point they don't have any other leads. So if you find anyone that's conspicuous, let us know, and if it's good, we'll pay you, like pretty much common murder stuff. And even the heroes are starting to patrol the slum area because of how severe and how messed up it was, how messed up it looked, because it was officially sewn on to Inko's head, plus the eyes were picked out and the eyelids were sewn shut. I don't know if I want to explain the rest because that's quite gory. Just imagine the weirdest thing that you've ever seen. That's what it looked like, because they pretty much say it's official psychopath murderer on the loose, and it's all over the news in all of Japan that this happens. The League of Villains see this and just went like, oh, Jesus, this person we must get on our side, because they see this and they see perfect candidate for allies. So, yeah, I reckon this is where I'll be ending it off. Thank you very much, and I'll continue this What If, because I'm actually enjoying it, and I hope you guys enjoy it too, and like, subscribe, let me know if you have any changes to the quirks or anything you want me to change to the story. I'll read all your comments, and I'll get back to you if I think it's good, and thank you very much, and thank you for supporting my channel. See ya. Bye.